Cut the music and let's get right into this thing. We got a beef versus pork challenge going on out here today. It is a sunny, bright day out here in AZ. I got me some baby back ribs, as you can see. Already been sitting up nice and easy. I spared you the time of seeing me go ahead and take them out the package, get them nice and cleaned up. Didn't do too much to them other than took the membrane off the back of these. And then with these beef back ribs, I got about a 13 boner up here up top. I never saw one actually that big, and this is probably the size that I'm used to seeing. But we got a couple beef back ribs that we're gonna be working on, and then a couple of these baby back pork ribs that we're gonna be working on. Basically, got nothing but some Killer Miller SPG on there. And then over here, basically you're looking at some Montreal steak type seasoning that I kind of mixed around on there with a little spicy that I had, mixed with a little bit of regular. I think that'll work out well with this beef. I didn't take off the membrane on the other side of the beef side. I did trim a little bit of the fat off of the back. But other than that, I'm going to leave that and get these babies nice and tender, and I don't want them to fall apart on me. My fire is pretty much up to temp. We rolling with some pecan wood today. You can expect some clean smoke along with some of them cowboy briquettes kind of getting us starting off. I'm going to take you right over and we're going to jump right into it. All right, I'll bring you out here and let you see how we did this thing. We got it rolling along nice and smooth. We was just open. I'm probably down to about 275. I'll let it creep back down to around 250. I got straight pecan wood in here now. And pretty much I had to go ahead and go with the biggest one of these racks at the bottom, only because of how long it is. This bottom rack is a little bit bigger. And then I got both of my porks so they can sit over there, get their little drip on. And both of the beefs right here. We're going to see how long this is going to work out. Easily, these are going to be roughly around 3.5 hours. And I know these is probably going to be closer to 4 or 5. We probably will be wrapping. So I'll keep them nice and pretty. 55 minutes in. I need to do some switching up. Woo-wee. Color is kicking. Pork ribs over there starting to look nice and pretty. I'm going to go ahead and give these a flip. I know it's a little hotter on top. And switch them up. And these here are going to pretty much stay as... We'll see if I can get that big one up there. We'll get a rotation. I want you to bring you in here so you can get a quick view of this 7-8 bone or so. We'll figure this thing out later as this thing drips on my nice clean storage shelf. Oh well, we get it back right. Anyway, we got this thing. You can see how much fat is in here, so this is going to take some time for this to go ahead and render out. So no rush. We'll get some good smoke on here, and I'm definitely going to probably go ahead and get these wrapped up here in the near future. But just give them a rotation here, and we'll keep it moving. While we in here, let's go ahead and take care of this fire. I figured we was about down to it. Always got one over here kind of just drying out, making sure it'll catch nice and quick as soon as it hit this fire. It shouldn't fight me too hard. Help it get rid of a lot of that dirty smoke. Get a good flame going, then I'll close this door up and let it keep riding. On this side, I got some apple cider vinegar and water, 50-50. Everything's been kind of rotated. These went top to bottom, flipped around. We just flipped around there because that big one's still too big for this top rack. But I'm just going to give everybody a little bit of love. Make sure they don't dry out on me. And we'll sit back and let them get a little bit more of the smoke and pull that bottom rack out. Yeah. Nice. Clean smoke, basics rubbing, and we should be good to go. What you think? Well, something for the week over there working too. Hour and 45 minutes in. I'm gonna take a quick peek while I'm kind of throwing in a little bit of yeah, looking good. Throwing in a little bit of wood, change up, beautiful color coming up off of here, no filters. You see where we at? Got that beautiful red coming out. Still tons of fat left to render over here in this beef rib. These pork ribs is looking pretty good. I might pull them a little earlier than normal just because I feel like they got a beautiful looking color. Normally I probably go closer to 3 hours. They are kind of in this little last spot where the air is about to go into the actual chimney. And I feel like it gets a little warmer around here sometimes. So they might be getting a little more done than normal. I'm more or less just going off the look initially and make sure they get some smoke in there. Then we go ahead and wrap them up and get them tender. So I'll probably be making a good judgment move here soon enough. Beef ribs is definitely going to spray. Let's spritz everybody. Now, barbecue family, I want to take a quick second to jump in here and let you know I appreciate you following along on today's cook. If you haven't done it already, find me on Facebook, IG, and TikTok. Hit that bottom right corner. Make sure that you subscribe. Check out any other videos you've missed. And other than that, we're going to get right back in here to the work. All right, I'm a little over 2.5 hours in. I figure I got enough smoke. So you seeing the next scene that we're going to be stepping off into. Don't mind that. A little something for myself. But we're going to go ahead and wrap these ribs up. 2.5 hours in, the smoke should take care of us. I got a little bit of tallow. We're going to be rolling with butcher paper. Walk with me and talk with me. We jumping right into it. Been holding steady. Nothing but clean smoke blowing out of here. I'm nice and clean as I had a deep clean. I ain't cooked on here in a minute. Oh yeah. Ribs is looking absolutely ready. Time to come on up off of here. I know there's room to work when it comes to those beef ribs, but they got a good looking color on there. And same thing with the pork. Pork's looking nice and red, jumping out of there. We're gonna meet you over there on the table in 1 minute. Contestant number 1, fresh off of the grill, one of these pork baby back ribs. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of this tallow, wrap this thing up tight, cover over the top with another piece of butcher paper, and then from there we're gonna be going face side down right back over there on the Lone Star. All right, I got my lovely assistants gonna help me out with this one. All right, let's pick it up. We don't need to put too much on there, so we're gonna keep it moving nice and quick. Woo! There we go. All right, deal. One down. Wrap it up. Contestant number 2. Now this is definitely the prettier of the two. Let's get a little bit of tallow over the top of that one, little baby. Contestant number 3. This is the smaller of the 2 beef ribs right here. Everybody got beautiful looking color and smell amazing. I'm gonna hit it with a little tallow, and this one's definitely gonna get a double wrap. Contestant number 4. This is the big boy beef rib. Now I can finally count these ribs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bone beef back rib. Biggest one I done had yet so far on the Lone Star and at the house. Tallow it up, wrap it up tight, and it's going back on. And my daughter had the great idea of going ahead and making sure that we want to check the temperature on these beef ribs before we wrap them up. Good thing she said something. We are already sitting at around 190-ish, so these shouldn't take too long to get to where I want to be. Maybe another half hour or so, close to an hour, and they should be tenderoni. It then got dark on me. It is about nearly 4 hours, 3 hours 45 minutes. We've been chugging straight along. You can see that saturation of that tallow that went all the way around. Definitely looking moist up in there. Look at that. Look at that. You know these babies is nice and juicy, nice and rendered. Look at that. I just seen dripping coming up off of here. So, needless to say, these babies is good to go. I don't even need the temp because I know where I was at before I went in here, and I know the temperatures of how long I normally cook my ribs on my grill. And I've been running slightly hot, which is good for this big boy right here, and that one down there as well. We've been giving them a good push around. I'm gonna let them come up out of here, let everybody calm down for a little bit, and we'll get to slicing. Okay, back in the house, and as you can see, these things are saturated, super tender. Usually the easy way that I know how tender they should be, outside of me knowing my timing more or less on my grill, is I want to be able to get a good amount of bend in the package. Even with a good wrap on there, these things still ain't giving me no, too much fight back at all. And definitely you can tell that we got a whole lot of rendering done. So these is cool. I'm gonna let these hang out in the oven just like you see it, nice and open. Let them breathe and come down in temp, and then we'll get some slices. Okay, it's been long enough. We're gonna dive into these beef back. Ooh, nice and warm still. These baby back ribs down here, and get them out first. These over. Let's see what we got in here. Yes, preserve that color. Bark's still intact. Let's flip them over and chop them up. Okay, number 2. Get this open. Another winner. Smelling beautiful. Nice looking crust on there. Let's get it out of here. There we go, both together. I'll flip these mugs over, and I can tell I gotta make a nice good bend. If I kept going, I could easily break these apart. So they're nice and tender, but at the same time, they're not falling completely off the bone. But you can see these bones is nice and exposed, easy to get to them. We're going right down the center. Pork ribs is cut up, and let me tell you, they are juicy and ready to go. Now it's time to check out these old beef back ribs. These things was juicy because I did not put in this much tallow. So definitely we got some good rendering action. These babies got taken up to around 205-ish. You see them bones coming through. We officially got our beef fingers. This is the small rack. Let's get these things out of here. Check out the bend on them. Ha! It's still nice and high. Clean this up. And let's bring this back. You see it tearing away. These is nice and tender, bending right around my hand. Not completely falling apart, which is why I like to leave that membrane. And now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to cut these off where they nice and thick. I'll probably almost get rid of one bone and make them nice and fat. We'll see. We'll see. And I wanted to bring you back so you can see how we cut this. These 2-bone cuts, so I'm coming real tight, and this is real done as far as this meat, so you can almost push it off just with the knife itself, just to slide right off of that bone. So that way you're gonna end up with meat on both sides as full as it could be. You end up with a nice fat bite now on this beef rib. You see that beautiful smoke ring in there. Obviously, they're always a rougher looking texture when you're doing a beef back rib. Clean this bone off as tight as I can as far as the cut on both sides, and then we're going right into the next one. Boom. This is the bone that's extra. So all those bones, while I will personally make sure there's nothing left, I made sure those is a lot smaller, so we end up with 3 bigger chunks where you really get your meat on the side. Because you know, on these beef back with that ribeye roast on top, they cut it so thin you're not gonna really have a lot of meat on top, which is why these bones always show through. So we got nice good chunks of meat on the side, so we got some good eating on these right here. Let's throw these in the side and we'll get to the big one over there. Alright, let's get the big one out of here. The little pieces I had off of the smaller one was super tender, and I can see by these bones shining through that this one's gonna be the same thing. Alright, we're going to do the exact same thing to these things. Leave as much meat on here as we can, and we'll go from there. Alright, I have dug in on all of these. Got as back as clean as I can between those other bones. And these are some bigger hammers. Never the prettiest when you're doing the old beef backs, but I'm going to tell you what, the flavor on these things is amazing. These is a good chew. Just big old pieces of beef. Good old smoke in there. Keep that rub simple. Salt, pepper, maybe some garlic, something like that. And at the end of this whole thing, you actually get some good eating off of some of that meat. These had quite a bit to render, if you remember how much fat was on there. So that's why they fell apart so much. But that meat is tender. As you can see right there, I can just pull that apart. Super juicy. But I get some right here. My cutting board is just a mess, but I can already see and smell the smoke, and I've tasted a little bit. So we get to the old classic, beef versus pork. And these are some pretty nice pork ribs. I mean, they've been sitting here for a few moments now, and you still see beautiful color. No filters, nice and juicy, all the way through. Can't go wrong. Beef versus pork. We're gonna figure out which one go the best. And now that the results are in, I'm gonna have to lean towards that baby back rib. It was just too juicy and too much of an overall bite compared to the beef back rib. You only get so much in there, but they both had great flavor. They both was smacking, and I tell you what, you wouldn't turn down either one. Shouts out to my boys over there at Black Smoke Barbecue, all the family, and you out there in TV land. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.